sneezing.
Hardcore sneezing, brought to you by Lunesta. Definitely not that medicated. I'm not talking about myself. I'm just saying. Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
This
Hello!
week's episode brought to you
Hello.
by Hardcore Sneezing.
Yo, today at work, there was some song that came on, and I was like, "This is like in every medical commercial ever." It was supposed to be like cafe vibes, but the music was just like that happy Pleasantville kind of music where you're just like, you see people like going about their daily lives, and then they're just like, "Oh, minor inconvenience. I'm gonna take this medication."
I was really impressed that they were able to find a rhyme for mesothelioma.
That word just like did something to my brain. Ugh.
If you have mesothelioma, you may be entitled to compensation.
How did I get this disease?
Oh my gosh.
The misto feeling lower.
Dreamy
gosh.
and Kenny.
Iskra, I need you to do next week's recap as a drug commercial. Please.
Your commercial or a drug rep?
All right, we can work on that.
The drug rep. We used to have those in Starbucks
Your
all the
snakes
time.
are sneezing.
Yeah, but all you sell are leeches?
Oh, no. That's fair. Yeah.
The cure-all.
It's true, Kenny. I never had it to begin with. It was all a lie. Just like cake. Okay. Hello everybody. Again, thanks for joining us today. We have a fun and exciting thing planned. We don't. It's going to be just fun and exciting. We don't have it planned though, because that's the whole point of this, right? It's all fake and the numbers don't matter or something like that. I don't remember. The rules are
The numbers are very important.
the numbers matter.
The numbers are the most
numbers matter.
important part of this
Something
game.
doesn't. I don't know. It was one of those things. In any case, we're here. All right. So I think that about covers it for announcements because I ain't got bananas. Do you guys have anything? Any crazy?
Happy Spooktober.
Oh yeah, happy
Happy-
October. Wow, it's October already.
I'm gonna drop this because it got announced last night. In 2 weeks, I'm gonna be guesting on Bards of New York.
Yeah.
Gonna
Yay on
make a little
Bards.
pit stop on my vacay to crash and cause shenaniganry.
Yeah.
Have so much fun
Shenanigans.
while you are out there. It's very
It's gonna
exciting.
be weird playing in person. I haven't done that since pre-COVID.
Yeah, that is true. I don't know.
How do you do that?
Yeah,
You don't.
I don't know either.
How do you look at people in the face and not just like a computer?
You bring some snacks. It's a great time.
I hear that back in the day, all you needed was like pencil and paper, but now you need like a
Can
very
you
high tech machine because I don't know.
Just the idea alone of it just being.
With this device, I can play Dungeons and Dragons.
What am I supposed to like? How am I supposed to roll these?
I'm just
Fake
looking
dice. I
forward
don't-
to going through TSA with like a bunch of dice in my elf ears.
Oh, no.
So
You're
Uh-oh.
going through New
That was a
York.
mistake.
They
Hold on.
see it
Aaron's
all the
eyes
time.
are-
New York and New Orleans. So yeah, they've seen much weirder things.
Where's the regular? Okay, there it goes. That's a little better. Nothing weird happening.
I'll
right?
rise
That's
for
fine.
the
Are
Calvin
you
Shane
sure?
national anthem.
Yeah, I was sure because I was messing with it earlier
Nobody
and then
tell
I
him.
couldn't.
Nobody
turn.
tell him.
Thank you. It took me a minute.
I recognize that tune anywhere.
That brought me joy. Okay, well now that we have sufficiently broken the proverbial ice and shaken off all the cobwebs and or jitters, let's go ahead and jump into tonight's episode. Wee-oo! Where is the button? Here it is. Zoom. Yahoo! Okay. Phew! We jump.
Yay.
We jump into tonight's episode of Game of Santos. Just kidding.
Wait, I
Matt
almost said
Scramble,
that.
switch. Matt Scramble, everybody switch
I
character
will
sheets.
log out so that I'm not imposing.
No, you just have to press randomize and you create a new character sheet, level 12, whatever you get. That's your character now.
I'm sure
Yeah.
Trevor already has like 15 of those ready to go.
I
That's
do
probably-
have several concepts.
He does have a character in the universe.
That is true. That
true.
is true.
Okay.
All right. here
Last
we go. Go for it.
week on Age of Myth, we are no longer in the city of Ilum, but find ourselves on a beach facing a large pyramid-shaped stone object. It is the Minoan Priory and home to the Fold. The Minoan Kingdom rose and fell before the Golden Age. As we enter, about 15 stories can be seen from inside the atrium, and the stories kind of are triangular in nature, it being a pyramid-shaped building. But there's a crystal cap on top to let the light in. This was a settlement way back in the Old Kingdom. We learned that the gods came from another place far beyond the stars and were guided to Terram, Earth, by those who could navigate the stars. They were escaping dangers that lurk in the darkest places beyond the stars. Remnants of that enemy led to the end of the Old Kingdom. We learned the term Orphics, those who have near divine power, and that we are all potentially Orphics. We were named the Sons of Might and Wisdom. Cyprus might have gotten a little confused on which one he was. And then Daughters of the Sun and Stars. Some Orphics decided to fade away into obscurity, while others, like, how you pronounce her name? Hecate?
Hecate. I don't know.
Hecate.
Guacamole. I don't know. So, however you want to pronounce.
Call me Hecate.
Uh,
Others?
prepared
Guacamole.
for other Orphics and the time to come. You know, it's as we say some of the like more minor Greek gods' names out loud that I realize I've mostly only read them as a kid, and I don't know the actual pronunciation, but we're just gonna roll with it.
Hard same.
We
that
find out it's actually Zeus.
those that we know as the gods and Orphics are the same. We are led to a large living space behind a door where we meet two Minotaur brothers seated around a fire pit. They are Menandros and Sokos. We have trials to undergo. We are offered wine by the goddess. We still don't really know if it was just wine or not. It is a lingering mystery. But we learned that Laertes' friend Pelenos lost his son to one of the horrors that's out there in the world. And we also learned that Astrid has trained with Artemis. We are led into a circular chamber to a dais with 8 circles, and she tells us, what you see can hurt you, but this is still a test. Clinging to what you know is real might save your life, and no one should truly be alone. The world around us melts away, spinning till we find ourselves in a ruined temple. We fight 2 creepy things whose only names I have written down from combat are Big Boy and the Wost Rider.
Yeah.
Or how did you pronounce it, Trevor? The Wost Rider?
The wost wider. The wost wider.
The Wost Rider. We were fighting them. Themisto was downed. It was not looking really good. When all of a sudden a ship crashed onto the scene that I think not everyone could see. And we were all faced with our fears. Cyprus saw another man with his love taunting him about being a nobody. Astrid saw her crew murdered on her ship. Themisto was once again forced to relive a scene of being bullied as a child for being a Gorgon. Phoebe saw her husband wondering why she left him. And Laertes I think he saw all of us dead and was asked why couldn't he do more with the magic that he has. We were all able to overcome our fears, but as we did so and joined together, we were surrounded by 3 dragons. Once again, we heard the voice of the goddess who asked us, what will you do when faced with an obstacle you can't overcome? We all decided to charge towards the dragons, and that is where our session ended.
Yes. this going. Play.
That saves.
Now I get to catch up on Fantastic Chat.
The 5 of you face 3 gigantic creatures that you have never laid eyes on before. You have heard tales of these monstrous beasts, the things that roam the hillsides and distant valleys around the Hellenistic area. I don't remember what they call the Hellenes. Is it just the Hellenes again? I can't remember what they call the land of
The
Greece.
Hillins.
The Hillens. The Hillians.
The hell side.
The landscape. We're just gonna say the landscape. As you face these creatures and you see their mouths open, large enough to swallow an entire person in one bite, they rear back, ready to strike at the 5 of you, but you 5 strike first. Each of you in your own way, showing the might around you, pulling in from the energies beyond your consciousness, beyond your realization that are there, and suffuse you with strength. And then in that same moment, as those creatures, like poised vipers, go to strike and you to strike them, before the moments of contact, it all ends. And with gasping breaths, the 5 of you stand in the center of that stone dais once again. The swirling, evaporating magic that had been the world around you fading off into dust. Swirling, glittering, sparkling like sands caught in a tide pool. And you look about the room. Themisto, you feel beaten, but you look down to where your wounds had been, and you see none, though the pain and the ache remain. You are, I'll say you're at, what's half your hit points right now?
7.
So, Ducky mushrooms. Ah, okay, 7.
And
You're at 7 hit points.
I would like to do something that I was going to do at the end of last session if
Sure.
the Misto is still looking a little rough.
Sure.
I'm going to say as we get back that radiant energy that kind of manifested as wings is starting to fade, but I want to have it like, as it's fading out, surround the Misto. And I'm going to use my healing hands to heal her for an additional 5 points.
Okay. Beautiful, beautiful.
I didn't know you could do such a thing.
I didn't know either.
It's welcome, thank you.
Okay. You look about the room and you see Hecate standing close to where you had seen her last, kneeling, but now she stands. She looks at the 5 of you. Well done. I am not going to assume that there are not going to be questions about what you have seen. Suffice it to say, whatever it was that your fears fed into your minds, or at least a resonance of those fears, much worse awaits you. If Phobos or any of the creatures' magic is to get into your mind. I was only able to see a vague inkling of what it could be that you fear. Some of you I know more than others. She looks over at Cypress. And while yes, it might be cruel, that is a reality. It was with such power that she looks like she not necessarily slipped up on words, but almost like she's like, oh, it nearly destroyed the world before. And with only a fraction of it, it nearly wiped us out again. We must train each other to be stronger. And the 5 of you managed to oversee the illusion. I am going to say you pass. Under normal circumstances, we would have a convening of sorts, but our numbers are few. And you did well. Do you have any questions? Statements?
Suppose I'd like to put forth a hypothesis towards the point. It was to see whether or not, or how we would respond to despair and fear and failure. More importantly, when we're faced with the abyss, do we stare into it and scream back and make it blink? Or am I wrong?
That is the intent, yes. It is important that you realize what is true and keep a firm grasp on it. Because only by knowing the truth can you see through the lie. Unfortunately, there is much more that needs to be taught, and not enough time at the moment. Come with me. I have a few remedies that will heal your wounds, both in the physical and beyond. She turns with a smirk and walks back towards the door.
Cypress, whose flesh is still glistening as if it's made of metal, and hair was still kind of flowing magically, it all kind of settles back down, and his skin returns to its normal tint, and he goes to pick up his sword and shield that he had cast aside, and sheets them and straps them to his back.
Alrighty. You guys follow?
There is this lingering when, as everyone's kind of going past, Laertes sort of pauses to let out a breath, and there's a moment where he struggles to maintain balance, as if there's a struggle just to maintain being able to support his own weight. He steadies himself, takes a deep breath, and then continues on as if that didn't just happen.
Laertes, would you mind walking with me? Feel like I could use some support after all that.
Not sure I'm able to do much, but I suppose.
And that is what we are here for, is it not? To help support each other?
I suppose it is.
The door to the room crackles and slides open. Kate steps out. You see Menandros and Soko standing there, peering inside past her. She walks past them and then stand back as you guys exit. Soko looks to each of you as you guys pass. It seems you all passed well.
Have the two of you been through what goes on in there?
You see Sokos swallow a little nervously, and he looks at his older brother, and Menandros puffs up his chest a little bit, puts his shoulders back, and then just kind of nods slowly.
It was a challenge, but yes, we too have undergone the trials of might.
And strength to you.
You, Sokos kind of leans over to you. He cried like a baby. But, doesn't stop you. You pass by, he just kind of, whispers it quickly. You can see the,
Yeah.
a devil, glare go between his brother and him for a second.
Whispering back quickly, though, I'll say, so did I.
He kind of bites his tongue ooh. Oops. But
Cypress is not looking at anyone. He'll meet the eyes of the Minotaurs, but he's being very silent and distracted.
Sure. Walking down along the hallway, you are taken to the staircase that goes up further, and Hecate starts to rise up a couple more flights as you guys follow. Damn it, Vix. As you guys go up to the 5th level, Hecate, you see that this hallway has a lot more rooms to it, or a lot more doors, I should say. She gestures to one, and then keeps walking to another, and to another, and to another. She picks out 5 rooms that are all next to each other. I am going to say that I'm going to wish you a welcome to the Minoan Priory. Aside from Menandros and Sokos, you are to be some of the first to have residence here. They are empty rooms for now, but they will be yours. If you have nowhere else to go, you may call this place home. In time, as I do not have the means at the moment, but Menandros is working on a means to allow you to return here at will. It might require some charging, but things are being prepared so that you might be able to return to this sanctuary when you are needing the break from the rest of the world.
Would it be possible to see this device before it is finished? Be most curious to see how it works.
Perhaps soon. at the moment. She opens the last one that she had pointed to, and just to kind of show you what it looked like. It's just like this simple, small, like almost like a little studio apartment kind of thing. It's basically a single room with a few amenities to it. A little closeted room, a little sectioned off, where you can kind of probably, I wouldn't say it's like a little kitchen, but it's kind of just has like a little food preparation area. A little table. You can see that there's some utensils, plates, and things that are there. It's very, very basic sort of setup, and it's strange in that it is also, the walls retain this strange, smooth, stone-like quality. The same as you have seen in every other part of this structure. It's almost like stone at some places. It has that rough texture, but in others, it's just completely smooth. But Astrid, what were you gonna say?
DM question, more like out of this world, but is it similar to the stony structure that we encountered in Kalashandra? How everything was made of that same texture, or like everything was made of the same.
Out of character, this would be more similar to in those post-apocalyptic movies where like it's gotten so dirty and crusty with time that it kind of has a texture that looks like stone, but if you were to like maybe chip at it, it might flake off kind of thing, but then some of it looks completely smooth. It just looks like it's kind of oddly stone textured in certain patches, if that makes sense. As you see the room, and you guys are standing relatively close, Kate runs her hands through the air, and as her hands move across in this circular pattern, you can see these strands of green and black that kind of interlace themselves, almost like she is spinning a what's it called, like the dream catchers kind of thing. It just kind of like laces itself in this really geometric pattern, this really smooth looking spinning arcane sigil, and she is going to cast what is the group healing one? I'm trying to remember that now.
Mass Cure Wounds.
Mass Cure Wounds, thank you. I had it pulled up and I forgot which tab I was on. But yes, cast Mass Cure Wounds on anybody who has need of some healing.
Yes.
So just go ahead and you can actually, you know what, for this, we're going to say you're going to suffer the effects of a long rest.
Ooh,
I use suffer.
Suffer.
You're gonna suffer the effects of a long rest.
Is that what she meant by like non-physical ailments?
Mm-hmm.
That we would get our spell slots back. In that way.
Rejuvenation.
Rejuvenation.
You've been rejuvenated.
She is a goddess of magic, after all.
Mm-hmm. Okay. She turns to Themisto. There is much that we are going to have to... information we are going to try and impart to all of you. But for now, I do believe you have a date with the rest of the city.
Yes. I did promise the king that I would speak to the people, so...
You still have time. But we will have to be returning you soon. If you wish, take a few moments to recompose yourselves and find me on the bottom floor once again when you are ready.
Thank you for blessing us with a sanctuary. Direct from a goddess. One I have never offered tribute to before.
I know. She says, and just walks. As she passes you, though, she's going to place a hand boldly on your shoulder. Something that maybe not too many people would be so bold as to do with the small writhing friends that you have attached to your head. It is good to see a daughter of Gaia again. And she continues to walk away.
That makes the mister smile a little.
So for the time being, you are there in the hallway. She goes back to the stairwell and descends once again. And it is the 5 of you.
But we're in this sort of provided living space-ish area.
Yeah, it's like basically think
It's
of it
like
like
college,
yes.
common dorm room kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like this is more like the hallway in the dorm.
But what I mean is like
Yeah.
like you got dorms on the other side and like the common area in between it kind of thing.
Like the day room where there's the couches and
Yeah.
the TV and the foosball table.
You know,
We'll
the
say
sort of
it's-
Saved by the Bell, the college years, got it.
It's probably a wide hallway, but yeah, everything in here is sparse. There's not a lot in the way of like furniture. But it'd be open enough for like, or you could probably set something up like that eventually. But for now, it's just kind of no.
Yeah, for now, if like we wanted to sit, we would need to go into one of the rooms.
Mm-hmm. And even then, there's like a chair, a raised, what's it called? Like the little beds that kind of not fold up, but they're just like they were kind of like wooden slats where they would like have like a bed,
Like a cot?
kind of like a cot. Yes, thank
Or
you.
I was gonna say a Murphy bed, but
Yeah, more like a cot. Yeah.
yeah. Since we are kind of here for a little bit, and it's just an interesting, example of proto-culture brutalism. He's just walking around that room, looking at it and seeing that sort of layer of not quite rocky crust that's apparently accrued, and he just is going to experiment with a little bit of I don't know what the Greek word for prestidigitation would be, but he tries to just clear it up, try and make a space look less old and forgotten.
What's the dimensions of that?
I think it's like a
Is it 5 foot square, right?
Yeah, so it's basically just like the stamp tool where it's just clean space, clean space, clean space, clean space. Like it's just like recasting and recasting.
I'm
effectively.
Oops. I'm gonna say that you doing that,
Mm-hmm.
you see the wall beneath. For us as players, this would be akin to like a smooth metallic looking surface as it clears away the dust and grime of over 1,000 years.
Ooh.
It becomes like, I would say that there's still some damage of like maybe rust that has eaten away of some of this metal, but there are still maybe where the dirt was thickest, it would have like eaten away the rust a little bit, or the whatever the material was there, but it definitely provides an almost metallic sheen to the walls around.
After a moment of silence and everyone just kind of going about their business in the space, Cypress, who's leaning against a wall, speaks up. So our fears are going to be used against us.
As I see that Laertes is kind of a little more steady on his feet walking around the room, I'm going to drift towards Cypress. Are you all right?
I think we need to talk.
Yes.
If our fears can be weaponized, we should know what they are. And you all need to know why I'm here.
It seems fair enough that we should know our companions. So, I am okay with this.
If we are to succeed, let's go around and talk. We've only just known each other a day ago.
Well, I guess it would make sense for me to go first.
Just to be clear, Laertes does kind of make his way over after.
Are you all familiar with Thebes?
I have heard of the place, but I have never made my way to the land.
I've docked there a couple times, but I have not stayed long.
It's my home. Thebes is an island kingdom ruled by elementals and genasi. The story that I've been told is that I washed up on the shore as an infant from a shipwreck. And when I was brought to the two queens, they took pity on me and decided to raise me amongst some of the other foundling human children. For about 10 years, I was trained like most other people, most other humans of my age. I was raised to be what we call a subservient, which is a guard, a servant, someone who is legally bound to someone's service. It's like being indentured, as I understand it. But it doesn't end. On Thebes, humans are a minority, and a lot of the culture there is very beautiful, very artistic, very magical. The elementals and the genasi are very wonderful beings. Being human does not count much. But when I was about 10, I was given to the queen's son, Asterion. It was the best day of my life. The prince, a fire genasi, takes after his mother, Queen Titaya, I've never been eloquent. He is everything that I'm not. He's poetic, he's smart, he's beautifully artistic. And being a child of the elements, he has innate powers that I obviously couldn't dream of. And for the next 8 years, he and I grew very close. I fell in love with him. He was good to me. And One day, he asked if I would be united with him. Though he went to the queens, his mothers, but they rejected the offer, or the proposal, for not only am I human, inherently not as valuable as their son, but I'm his subservient, or I was. And subservients are not given such rights. But it was what we both wanted. So when he left, I went to them myself, something that I wouldn't dare to do, but I asked what it would take. What would make me worthy of him? Neither of them really liked me that much. Especially his mother, Queen Titaya, a woman composed of beautiful flame and emotions that rival it. She never thought much of me, which is fair. And she saw an opportunity. Cypress kind of closes eyelids and is clearly trying to remember specifically words that were said. She said, "Very well, Cypress. You want to be released from your subservience? I grant you leave. Go out across the seas, into the wider world. Prove that you are worthy of my son. Send us no word of your deeds. When we hear the wind itself sing your praises, when we feel the earth tremble at your footsteps, the water swell at your command, and the fire blaze at the mentioning of your name, then you may return to Thebes. Then you shall be worthy. But know this, if you leave, do not come back until we call you. To do so is to admit defeat, and that you are not fit to stand at my son's side in any capacity." So I chose that. He didn't want me to choose that. And I didn't want to either. But I had to, because the awful truth and the real thing that I'm reflecting on, the reality of this fear, is that I am not worthy of him. You, he looks around at you, all have things that make you inherently more valuable. You are practically brothers with the gods. You're daughter of Gaia, daughter of the stars. You, and he kind of gives a vague gesture at Laertes. You with your whole thing.
Gestures and everything.
Yeah. I am just a man. And I need... The reason why you've kept hearing me say that I need fame, I don't care, but I need to have it. I don't care if my name lives past me, but I need these qualifications to be met. And I'm sure she means it very literally, because I can't see him until I do. I've been gone for just not even 2 months, and I had not been away from him for 8 years. The only times that we were ever apart was when I was training or he had some duties that did not involve me. And time is not running out, but it sure is running, and I feel it every moment of it. I know it sounds crass. I don't really care about this greater thing going on. I'll do it. You can count on me for it, but I'm only in it for this one reason. And I am so inept at this that I don't know how to take these steps. I don't know how to spread my name. I've never... Am I supposed to lie? Hopefully it
Phoebe
won't be at some point, but...
is going to take your hands in hers. You were enough from the moment he chose you above anyone else.
You are very kind, Phoebe.
You are enough.
And I know that he thinks so.
And that is all that matters.
He will kind of re-grasp your hands, but kind of push them away. I know that he thinks that, and you are kind. But they don't. And if I'm being very honest, I don't. Not yet.
Astrid's gonna come in and hug you both and like bring you both in and be like, Laertes, that spell you did got dust in my eye. But we are going to find that boy for you. You're going to be reunited with him. We're going to get you there.
Thank you, Astrid. So that's my fear. Well, I don't know if you could see it. He was standing with someone else, and I had to be saved.
Oh, you poor lion.
Let's not forget it was you who came to our aid when we first met.
I am good at fighting, and I hope to press that to my advantage to be a hero of... Oh, that's right. He reaches to his side and takes out a pre-opened scroll. If you've seen me with this... This is an epic poem that he's writing about me. It's the first stanza. I won't read it. I won't bore you, but I have to give him something to write about.
Then he'll write a very, very long story of all of your accomplishments.
So I'm not allowed to update him on them. And he laughs, but starts crying.
I'm sure we will have no shortage of opportunity for deeds for you. Thank you for sharing this with us, Cyprus.
Thank you for hearing. So I don't know how this fear will be weaponized against me. It's a very real and ongoing thing. I don't really fear monsters, but we'll work on that.
I suppose one way to look past the fear is to remind yourself that he in fact did choose you. That you even said that you think that he thinks you're worthy. That the only thing keeping you apart is the situation rather than your shared feelings. If some creature, some entity decides to show you otherwise, you have the proof in your heart that that's a lie.
I like to think so, but I'm not there.
So, which of us should go next?
I suppose I could. Start with what I saw. It was all of you lying face down on the floor, dead, with the overwhelming feeling that I either failed to learn something critical or failed to share it with you, which I'm sure is a condensed form of I am afraid that our civilization, such as it is heading for another calamity that we've already experienced. And the more we talk with our hosts, it seems to be realized in some form or fashion. And it is daunting, to say the least, because of how few people are wanting to know the truth beyond what is spoon-fed to them. They are comfortable and content in the pastoral life that we've had for the last 1,000 years, despite we had to rebuild the concept of farming after that. We have grown complacent in our ignorance, not out of malice or cruelty, just comfortable. And an inability to learn more, to stand on our own, to become so over-reliant on the gods that we make nothing of ourselves. That when the truly difficult times come, we can do nothing to stop it. I'm going to die young. I have always known this, because it's what happened to my mother. And it's not just some grim omen or superstition or curse. It's just born with poor health. And I want to use what little time I have left to leave behind some means of making the generations that follow have something to stand on, and so lift up the generations that follow them. My fear with even leaving the Lyceum, the school, is that any teachings I leave behind will go misunderstood, intentionally or otherwise, perverted by people who don't understand or want to co-opt it for their own purposes, and in turn plunge the world into a darkness before it's even ready to deal with the shadows we have now.
That is a great burden for one person to bear.
It's at the end of the day, I suppose we all give ourselves tasks big and small, and that's a laughable one I chose for myself.
Well, no, at least Vithia has put me on the path of truth, and anything you wish to impart, anything that we come across together, it's should be known.
But
How do you know it's for health?
let's just say it's not just the life of an academic that deprives one of cardio. Just standing upright some days is difficult.
Hickoth said that the Orphixes live long lives. How are you any different? Perhaps as you grow stronger in your capabilities, your body will follow.
Perhaps, but there is not a problem, but she said herself that they can still be killed. Longevity is more based on fortune than being impervious. And in many ways, I have lived above the Hellenic average. Many people don't make it through childhood. Some don't even see their 20s because of some war or famine that outbreaks in their area. I say for the sake of argument that I am an Orphic, and whatever that means, I can still fear that my teachings, my goals become perverted by some other force or go unrealized altogether. I could be felled tomorrow by someone's blade. It won't change anything else.
We won't let that happen.
Not if we're standing in the way.
Every single person that you have taught and your partner there in the lab, your legacy lives on through them, your teachings.
And she seemed very nice.
That's the word she would use for herself. But yes, she's my oldest, closest friend, really.
And then perhaps we can speak to her again when we are back in Ilum.
That may not be advisable. But
The
we'll
Mr. will
see.
just raise an eyebrow.
All this stuff that you fear will be lost. Did you write it down?
In a way. And after one of the sort of the sleeves of his clothing, the little crystal kind of floats out. Much of what I have learned, I have transcribed into this. And yet, every time I learn something new, sometimes it's something to add to it, or something within it teaches me something new. And I don't trust this with anyone. And I don't mean that in a derogatory sense. It's that this is the kernel of so much lost knowledge that even reading it is a lost art that I'm trying to rebuild. And without me at the moment, no one else can, as far as I'm aware, which is a two-edged sword. It protects the knowledge from someone that would misuse it, but it makes it that much harder for someone of a like mind to start from scratch.
And it would take a long time to write down the good stuff into a book.
It doesn't really fit in a portable sense. Tablet chalk. I could spend most of my life writing it down on the walls of the interior of the structure, and it would still not be enough space to write it all down.
I'm glad you're remembering that.
I don't
Seems a
have
lot
to, thankfully. It's how our world works, and as conversations go on, our universe. And I think as we go along, it's the understanding of what that is going to broaden for all of us. Okay, well, I'm done bearing my soul. If someone else would like to go first. Next.
Thank you for sharing that. I mean, obviously, couldn't even pretend to try and read any of the stuff that's on there, especially if it's not written down, like you're saying. But I'll do my best to try and protect you and it as well.
I can go next. My fears are basic, but mean a lot to me. I've lost good people over time. My crew was bigger a time ago. I lost good people because of mistakes I made as captain to monsters we have fought. I lost my dear companion, a bird, to a monster. I saw my crew torn to shreds while the monster loomed over my ship. I promised myself I would never let any of them perish. Like my crew did years ago. I will put myself first in the face of danger if it means saving them. And I think in time, I will see each of you as equals to my crewmates. That is it. I don't have a heartfelt story or a mournful one. I've lived the life of a sailor, and I don't want to lose any more people. That is it.
The simplicity does not make your feelings for your crew any less true. I am sorry for what you've lost.
I do swear to get my bird back from that creature. I will hunt it down and find it.
Keep our
And I
eyes
will
out
kill
for
it.
that. It's like
I do not know she is alive, but I seek vengeance against that monster.
Now that you have the gods on your side, it should be easier.
This beast has terrorized too much. And it has taken from me. But that's less of a fear.
If there's not a bird to keep our eyes out for, what does the thing look like?
I'll take out a drawing that I have like in my bag, within a journal, with all the monsters all the monsters that she has encountered or slain. And I'll post it in the campaign art.
Oh, right.
I always lose track of where that is.
Collective shared memory of 5 people.
So if you would like to see that image,
Yeah.
join our Discord now, and
Join now.
you can see what that monster looks like.
You can also see it next to the Woe Strider from last week.
But
The Woe Strider?
It was so terrifying. The Woe Strider.
Help me, where's the art? I forget what it's called.
Hasn't been posted yet. That's the part of the problem.
Oh, Art Plaza.
Yeah.
No,
No,
there's a
below
campaign
that.
art one.
Darn. There it is.
Although, yeah, I don't see anything in campaign art yet.
There she is. Not the thing, but the Woe Strider.
I'm about to,
The Woe
about to
Strider.
post
The
it.
Woe Strider.
I was a creature of great terror. It was very scary.
I like to think that that thing is not like 10 feet tall, but is rather like 2 feet tall.
Galil coming in with a hydrate.
I don't have my water, Galil. I left it behind me in the other room.
Water. I have water.
Oh, God.
Okay. That is a
Think
monster.
Yeah,
there's
Cypress will see.
something wrong.
Cypress will see the picture and say, "Oh shit."
Does this trigger off of anything I've ever read? Any kind of stories from the old world or histories brought about, studied?
You can either make a history check or an animal. Wait, not animal handling. What would that be?
Nature check?
Nature? Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Same role, ultimately. 21.
21. Okay.
Oh, thank you for the hydrate, Khalil.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll go grab my water. Forgot it.
Oh,
I see your hydrate and raise you a caffeinate.
nope. Not it. Where's the 1,000?
If they're paying for it, I should oblige.
You made that more of a trek than it actually was. You made that seem like it was going to be more of a journey to go get water than it actually ended up being.
I'm sitting.
I will say that there are plenty of stories of amalgamations of creatures. Oh no, my brain just went. There is a creature that has got 3 heads and a snake tail.
A chimera?
Yeah, that one. The chimeric creatures of various types. There's all sorts of stories of creatures in the far-off lands that defy anything found in nature. They seem to be the creatures that come from people's worst nightmares. And now, with the information that you've been given, knowing that there are forces at work within the world that can take your fears and make them manifest to a degree, it brings on a new understanding to those stories of those creatures.
Interesting that we are faced with an entity that feeds and fuels fear, and this is a creature that seems to be an amalgamation of so many fears.
Yeah, I am curious if these fears, if it intends to use them against us, at least not all of our fears, but I wonder if it will try to make them true in the meantime, because obviously it is making them seem to be the case, but I wonder if it can threaten us by really making them true.
The
I mean,
Whatever
mistress,
they can
obviously
hurt
us
us.
being killed is, I mean, probably, but at least selfishly, I'm wondering if it would have machinations of that kind.
the Mr. Snakes are gonna be looking at her as you say that. um, uh, if that's the case, then that could be a problem for me. I could tell mine next. So, none of you reacted this way openly to me, at least. But I'm sure the stories you've heard of people like me are not so good ones. I grew up in the temple of Apollo Pythios, which is the serpent killer, as you know. But, when I was very young, I was brought on a trip with some of the other girls to Corinthos for the Corintria, which is a festival there, which Apollo is a part of. Well, I got separated from the rest of the girls, and a group of kids decided to tell me what they think of me for being a Gorgon. Phoebe saved me that day, and I am thankful to her for that. But I wasn't allowed to go on any trips outside Delphi after that. Yeah. Imagine I had run into any adults, not kids, but people who felt the same way. Or if Phoebe hadn't come to me, even in Delphi, most of the priests and the priestesses, they encouraged me to keep a scarf over my head so I wouldn't stand out. My parents, they wanted me to be myself, but of course they worried about me, so obeying the priest was the right choice. At least it was in their eyes for a long time. It has always been a mixed message, whether being a child of Gaia was a blessing or a curse for me. I am more comfortable now with who I am, but when most of the world tells you you're a monster, it's hard not to fear sometimes that maybe they're right. I was brought back to that day that Phoebe came to help me, and there was we faced our fears, and I was feeling quite alone. feeling like the monster that the kids accuse me of being. So, if this power that we are going to face can make our fears true, then it's not so good. But there, it's out in the open, and
You mentioned your parents. Are they not Gorgons?
It's a natural question, but I am the only one of me that I know. I have heard the same stories that all of you have heard. But no, my parents are humans. The word Gorgon I would not use for myself if it didn't already exist. My father, he's a forester in Delphi. He takes much from the lands. My mother uses what he brings home to make beautiful crafts for the people there in Delphi. When I was born, it was quite a shock to them.
Or you're in training to be Pythia. This
Yes.
will surely change things. For you and for your kind. For all the people to see.
If that is to be my future, then yes. The Pythia is chosen by the people of Delphi. So, it may not be my path. But we will see.
In the places that you've gone and been so far, and the places that you plan to go, do you go disguised? I mean, you mentioned the thing over your head, but is that a thing that you want us to keep up? Or are you being open about it?
I tried to read their room, I guess. I don't want to put myself in unnecessary danger, but I also want people to know what I really am, you know? If they get a chance to talk to me, then maybe things will change. So.
And if not, they get our fists.
I appreciate that. To be honest, I wasn't sure what to expect from all of you.
I don't know what stories you're necessarily referring to. I am familiar with the gods. I was not very on Thebes. They don't relay a lot of the most of the legends because they don't really care about most of them. They worship primordials and titans rather than the humans' gods for the most part.
Let's just say that people who are also serpents don't have such a good reputation in the stories then. You know, even at my home in Delphi, is the most famous act that happened there was Python being killed by Apollo, so...
Well, you seem very nice to me.
Thank you.
It goes a long way towards...
Also, the thing you did at the dragons was very cool.
I'm glad you think so. It's not something I've tried to do.
What were you gonna say, Larides?
Oh. You are going to be you are tasked with speaking to the townsfolk. It's not fair that it's put on you to dispel the myth of your kind. But it is a great opportunity to show them that you're just a person.
Mm.
And by opportunity, I mean it's an opportunity for them. You don't need to
Oh.
prove that to anyone else.
When I speak to the people, my snakes will be looking back at them. So
I am curious. I had heard of the one Gorgon, with I think Perseus, I think, but are they all children of Gaia, like you?
Mm.
Are they all daughters, or I guess they don't have to be daughters? Are they all children of humans?
I don't know the circumstances of any other Gorgon that exists. If they do, I just know myself. And for me, it's Mount Parnassus, where Python lived, is considered the center of the world. It's the closest place to Gaia that we know. It was her realm before Apollo came. It is for that reason that when I was born and the priests of Apollo were called, because of my resemblance to Python, that I am called a child of Gaia.
I guess if we see another Gorgon, we give them a moment to prove their worth before the blades start swinging.
I would hope.
I guess that goes for everyone.
I am more afraid to tell my fear than I was to face it. Cypress, you think you have not done anything, but you have done so much. My world has been very, very small. This is all my fault. I had no one growing up, no family. I was raised in a temple orphanage. But I had Diodoros, Apollo. And like a brother, he came to me. My best friend. The day I met Themisto, he told me I could be great. And I wanted to believe him, but it's just an orphan in Corinthos. I let the doubt take over. And I never pursued it anymore. So I started seeing Diodoros less and less. I accepted the proposal of a fisherman because it was a safe life. And I lived a safe life, dying on the inside until I couldn't take it anymore. I didn't say goodbye. I didn't even leave him a note. I just ran. Didn't know what I was running to or what I was running to. It was more like I was running from that safe life. I saw him in there, wondering why I left, why I wasn't at home. And here to see that we could be great. And there's a part of me screaming that I've got to go back home, that is who I really am.
Stevie, I have always seen someone different. Someone who was great. You left quite an impression on me. I used to imagine the adventures you must have been going on and wish that I could go back to Corinthos to see you again, or maybe you will come to Delphi.
Never left Grintos until now.
I might be confused. Theodoros was Apollo, right?
Yes. Many of the temple orphans, it seems, would see him. He would come be a confidant to us. A friend, family, when we had no evidence. As I got older, as I believed the doubt, he stopped appearing to me. And I started to believe that all I was worth was a simple life on the edge of Grintos, married to a fisherman. That was either a dream or misspoken words.
Did you punch and kick things a bunch while you were married to a fisherman?
No. When I was younger, it was more like dancing. For almost all of my marriage, I didn't dance.
You seems like you, at least so far, that you've certainly been capable of this path of life. You don't seem to stand out like you are meant for something less.
And as I said, even if perhaps it is not a path that you walked for a time in this world, you did in the world of visions to me.
We could have kept knowing each other. I think things would have been very different.
But we are here together now.
Can rarely, if ever, go back and change what was. But there is always time to change the path that we're currently on if we wish to go somewhere else.
I think my fear then that these steps I take in faith, I will step, and there will be no more stairs. I will have walked off a cliff and fall.
Do you feel failure?
There is a part of me, and I'm learning to listen to it. It is the sunlight. Listening to what I could be. If I had just listened then, what I could have been for years. I'm trying to keep the other part at bay.
Your story's not over. You have much alive to live. And time to prove yourself to those you left behind then. With us. You're a kick-ass fighter, from what I saw.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering if you mentioned dance. I was wondering where you picked that up. Couldn't really picture a fishwife doing all the combat that you've done.
I said it was not something I had done in a very long time. It's the last time I spent in Theodoros.
Well, here's hoping then that this is a good way for every one of us to prove ourselves. Because it seems to be what we're all looking for.
Ah, well, we're well on our way. We already have a palace.
You look around the room, sparse as it is,
Yes.
but still. I should note
One might
that,
call it Spartan.
I should note
I
that
mean,
it
the
does.
irony was intended.
He said the thing.
It should be noted that there is a sort of window that gets cleared whenever you do the mass clean room Laertes. That there you can see out into the atrium-like space within the building or structure that you are in. You can see the light filtering in from the clear quartz-like substance, whatever that might be, up above, as it filters down into the room below. Yeah.
Well, Laertes, you have put the work into this room. I think this one should be yours.
Sorry, out of character. I think this is the common area. This isn't just him going
No.
like, and this place is mine.
Oh. Well, no, this was because I was under the understanding that this was one of the rooms. Because otherwise, there is.
Well,
no
yeah, Laertes
Yeah, it's
gets
just
the
a
common
hallway.
room and we all get the bedrooms.
Yeah, I think we had
Yeah, I thought
established
we
that
were
there
in the
wasn't
hallway.
anything in like the hallway. There was just the rooms.
Okay.
So we'd have had to pile into a room.
Oh, well, I think it
You're
was
all-
a case of I thought none of us wanted to sit in the grime, so it was less about the selfishness of I'm claiming this one.
I licked it. It's mine.
Well, it's like the opposite of a dog.
No.
You cleaned it and claimed it.
Sure. I mean, I'm going to get around to cleaning the rest of them if we're going to be actually spending time here, but
I'm pretty good.
we should be looking into how we're getting back because you still have a speech to give. You have a crew that you are responsible for. And I don't know what the rest of us are doing now.
And a storm was coming last we were on the island.
Yes.
Not the island, the mainland.
I have a feeling Hecate, being the goddess of doorways, can get us where we need to go.
And best not to get off on the wrong foot with the King of Ilan.
Or the two gods that have conscripted us.
Was it just me, or did it seem as if the king at least was deferring quite a lot to Ares?
As most kings do with their trusted advisors. Or so I hear.
I wasn't sure if it was situational or Orphic aura that was somehow breaking the situation. It's
Probably a bit of that as well.
It's an interesting consideration.
From what little I know of Ares, I imagine he doesn't take much of a servant role.
Well, I'm not going to be bringing up topping from the bottom with him, so we should probably just get on our way.
What does that mean? Laertes, it is
Ask
crazy
Asterius.
big words. Well, those were all small words, but it became a
Go,
complicated.
go look
sen-
it on Greek Urban Dictionary.
Oh, okay.
right.
Yeah, Polish dictionary.
If we begin to filter out to make our way downstairs, I do want to kind of hold back with the Misto for just a second.
Go for it.
I hope you're not disappointed that I am not what you thought I was.
You are exactly what I thought you were. You don't need to change a thing.
I'm glad he brought us together again.
Yeah, I'm too.
She's
This-
gonna hold your hands tight.
The Mister will take him back with equal fervor.
Then it becomes a battle. Start arm
1,
wrestling.
2, 3, 4. I declare a thumb.
We hear combat in the other room.
I'm sure there's two sides to that.
I'm sure there will be danger, but this will be a good adventure.
There'll be a chance to keep leaning into the light.
Yes, and a chance to learn.
Learn much, apparently.
So much. Can you believe it has only been a day?
Still doesn't feel real. But I hold on to what she said. Hold on to what is real. And that no one should be alone.
This is wise. Shall we rejoin the others?
Let's go. We've only just made these companions. It would be a shame to lose them.
Yes.
We stepped into a pit.
They all fell. It was like crumbling. They fell 5 stories.
This is an old decrepit ruins. It's very dangerous.
Yeah. There's what is that you get from rust? Rusty nails.
Tetanus.
Tetanus in every
Tetanus.
corner.
Rust monster.
Yes, rust monster. Exactly.
To think it's been 24 hours, it's only been, it feels like it's been 6 or 7 weeks.
Amazing how that happens, huh?
The Mister Snakes look quite calm and bouncy right now.
It's got a nice little.
You've got a bob going.
Yeah, a little. Yes.
You're a little more awake right now, so you got a little more volume than you did when you woke up.
That's right.
Do you think any of them take like fish hook upwards things so that your hair can go like that?
Oh yeah, she totally has hairstyles.
What was it, Betty from Flintstones? They had the little like. Ooh.
You snap your fingers and your hair just entirely adapts a new thing. You practice it with them.
What do you think, Beehive, today?
Whoosh! That's amazing.
So I'm trying to combine my head Medusa and Marge Simpson. All I'm getting is Marjusa, and that just sounds so much worse.
just huge anacondas going straight up.
Oh my goodness.
Cleo was the tie yesterday. She is tired. We'll have one of the other snakes fill in for that.
Oh
So
no.
starting not to keep going off character, but here is when a Gorgon is having a bad hair day. It's like she's in her molt cycle.
Oh,
I've actually
Dandruff.
considered what happens with that, so maybe later.
Nice.
Well, Gorgons don't have dandruff because, like geckos, they eat the skin.
Oh no.
All her rollers in the evening are actually just other rattles that she's taken from other Gorgon. These were my mother's.
You're ridiculous. Okay.
Gorgon's like Cubones now.
No.
oh no! Oh,
Who made them put that thing on their head?
I don't know.
No one told them to do that, not their mom.
oh.
Oh no. Okay.
The
Alright.
Misto.
So, is this where we're gonna
The
start?
miss no.
This is how we start.
Astrid!
We start Pokemon calling.
Cypress. Laertes. Laertes.
No, none of that. We're going home.
I imagine Laertes looking like Alakazam.
There is no spoon. There is one spoon. 2 spoons. Oh
So
my
Kadabra.
god. Yeah. Okay. So, as you guys file down the stairs, it is another pig gug situation. As you
I feel like you need to narrow that down because that means a few things from what I understand.
also true. But in this situation,
Silver
Like it all
loincloths, everyone.
the only difference between one pickup situation and another is how you conjugate it.
Picking.
all right. So, as you all go back down to the main floor, retracing your steps, fighting a yawn. As you retrace your steps, you find Hecate there by the doorway that leads out of the building. I expect that you all have rested well enough. Excellent. I have spoken to Menandros Laertes. Once he has established a blueprint of sort, I will see that it finds its way to you. In the meantime, it's back to Ilum we go. She runs her hands along the wall, and that same sort of black and green strand work of arcane lattice kind of shimmers over where the door is now visible on this side. And as it then kind of falls away in its own like little mini black hole sort of thing, it's kind of just like the pieces collapse inwards. I guess it goes more like that, or it just kind of pulls away. And now there's this swirling mass of arcane energy that then becomes a doorway, and you can see into the room that you had been led into before. I trust you remember that once we have returned to Ilum, all that you have seen is to remain between us and other members of the fold as they are introduced to you. But do remember that some of the gods, even some of the gods, are not part of the fold. They
How
have
should we tell between them?
As of right now, you know of me and General Ares. The only others among the Hellenic gods are Apollo and Poseidon. The rest have decided not to be a part of this, either by their own neutrality or by the opposition. And it is not that they fight against us, but more that they see this as a danger. Gathering other fledgling Orphics, training them to greatness. They say that it invites a second calamity, a second fall. But there is no way to know for certain. And to allow civilization to just continue as is without anyone who knows how to defend itself would be to invite a second fall with someone who is not trained, who has garnered their own power, fought their own way, and then lose control.
Speaking of Apollo, how is he, if you know?
I do not. We have not spoken since last night, and I have not been able to find or reach him. But that is a matter we will discuss later. She gestures to the door. You all going? Alrighty.
As usual, I'm still kind of studying how she did that and adjusting his own estimates of certain things.
Sure. As you enter into the next room, Kate walks in with you. And the passageway to the priory of that you had just left. The Minoan Priory. Oh, the word evaded me. Closes behind you. And Themisto, you take a deep breath. You know what comes next.
Indeed, I do.
And it is with that we will go on break. Right at 9 o'clock. So, quick little 10 minutes as we refill our water glasses and such and prepare for whatever comes next. So, don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
What if I told you that all the things you thought were myths and stories from across the world, stories of gods and their champions, of mighty acts of magic and might, of monsters and creatures beyond imagination? What if you found out that they were all real? That as the stories were written down, they were indeed versions of the truth, and not flights of fantasy. Would you like to see these stories? So that one day, you will know how the story will end. I thought you might. Why don't you take a look? Do you know what you've done? You've cursed us all.
You don't understand. We can't run anymore.
Who goes there? Show yourself.
No one at all. Just little old me.
All ships on main. We aren't going to get another chance at this. Make it count.
Ready, Commander. All wings engage.
This is it.
On your left, on your left! God bless us all. He's here.
1. Wait, what song was that? I was doing Gloria Stefan in my head, and then it
Three,
was like-
three, three, two,
it was
two, two, one,
Oh,
one,
that-
one.
that-
Got a
there's that
blast.
yeah, that one.
That one.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay. Back in the city of Ilum once again.
Back in the saddle again.
Back in the saddle again.
I'm back.
Right? Yeah. All right. So once you are in the back in the palace, it is interesting to see how Hecate returns to the form of Helena. Not necessarily that she shifts her features or anything, but the composure, the stance, and everything kind of shifts from one to another, almost to make it unrecognizable that you stand in the presence of a goddess. In quotation marks. She stands tall for a second as I'm gonna sneeze or not.
Bless
Okay,
you.
it's gone. It's gone.
What
It
could
didn't have
make the goddess a magic sneeze?
Hardcore sneeze.
Ah, poof,
Brought to you
happened.
by mesothelioma.
No, it's back again.
Bringing it all back around.
As you look about the room, she goes over to a platter where there are a few goblets, cups, and pours. You can see water that she pours into these cups. I will go and inform the king and queen that you are rested and ready for whatever you are prepared to say.
Should I expect an escort to a particular location, or
We are going to be speaking at one of the plazas. Actually, we'll be speaking at the plaza. The one from last night.
of course, it is an appropriate venue?
There, a crowd, I'm sure, is starting to gather as we have already sent word to the priests there that there is going to be a proclamation from the king and queen. But despite what the king says, I'm sure everything will be fine. You are a daughter of Gaia, after all. Whatever. What?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Helena?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think are the chances of another attack taking place tonight? Because it just occurred to me, now would be another good time for a spectacle.
With the events of last night, there has been a doubling of the guard around the city. A more careful eye is being laid upon those who are in attendance at these gatherings. It is unlikely that they would be so bold as to try something again. Well, yes, you are right. It would be an opportune moment, especially if we are feigning that we are not bothered by their activity before, but I believe their purpose has been met already. They are going to undoubtedly hope that that the fear and ignorance of the people will cast their message throughout the rest of the city. But we have something that they do not. She stands a little taller. We have a would-be oracle in our midst. She looks over at the Misto.
Which Cyprus's question actually reminds me of something very important. It could be urgent. The events of last night were not the only thing that came to my mind. I saw a woman in a room filling with water. I worry it may be too late for her, and it was dark. I have no idea where it could be.
The problem with prophecy is there is no real way of knowing when these things will occur. I'm sure amongst your visions you saw many other things.
Yes.
Undoubtedly, some of those may be happening now, while others may still be far off in the future. One day, hopefully soon, I can share more about how your people see. And when she says this, the Misto, she looks at you. And you get the sense that she's not completely talking about oracles. As the you was very pointed at you.
Interesting. Okay.
I will return once they are ready.
Well, you and Lord Ieris, is that also right? I need to be sure I have these aliases correct.
80s.
80s. Will you both be in attendance?
We will not.
You will not. Because
The
I was...
The general might, but I am but a simple housemaid.
What if you both are the targets? You say that there probably won't be another attack, but what if there is, and it's not for us, but for the gods who are involved? Will you have people protecting you wherever you are tonight?
You see, there is a difference. It is not my festival. I shouldn't even be here after a fashion. And as for the general, he too is not necessarily expected to be in attendance. This is, after all, a festival to Apollo. I'm sure you are aware of how jealously the gods view their worship. As it is. She rolls her eyes.
But
Trust
they
me.
could see him.
They were looking.
He was in disguise at the time, and they could see who he was.
So could you.
I could see that he was divine, if that's all that they needed.
You saw someone of great power. And so no one of great power should be in attendance there. You have power, but let's be real.
I'll adhere to your judgment.
Speaking of power, out of curiosity, how under your thumb is the king and queen?
I do as my queen tells me. And listen. There is occasions when she asks for a simple woman's advice. And I give her what she expects. Just so. The general, he has a little more say. But then such is the way with men. I prefer the shadows. And the whispers. The secrets.
I like her.
Speaking of, that wine you served us, was it just wine or is that another secret?
You know, under other circumstances, I would praise your caution. It was just wine.
Darn.
But one can never be too careful. That's okay, Cypress. You're not old enough to drink anyway. I am going to go now. she walks away.
What age is it here?
So the character, like, isn't the legal drinking age in Hellenic Greece whoever can reach for the cup?
Yeah.
Alive.
Yeah, just build that tolerance early. Rub some dirt in it. Drink some beer.
Put some hair on your chest. You talk weird.
Dad, I'm 7.
I know, you're a late bloomer.
Oh no!
And you're already a disappointment.
Gosh.
You talk
That's
real
a whole
strange,
other
Dad.
fear to like sort through.
Oh my god! Amazing.
You're not even
I
my
want to
dad.
play with those characters now. Very terrible.
Oh my god! All right.
You like wandered into my house and offered me a drink.
Ernesto, when we go to the plaza, for all intents and purposes, to Ilum now and to the king, I'm here to serve the Pythia in training. I will be by your side the whole time.
Thank you, Phoebe.
Would you like? I can see Helena's reasoning, but I don't like it. I think I should be on watch. Would you rather me be at your side or watching the crowd?
Your eyes were valuable before. Watch the crowd. I'll
think
be
I'll-
okay. I have Phoebe next to me.
I think I'll be standing next to our general in case he is not looking for anything to happen. The thing that worried me, I don't know if it had to do with the form that Apollo was taking, but all it took was a touch.
You are wiser than you give yourself credit for.
Well, thank you.
So I know, it's cool. All right. Within a short amount of time, you are fetched for the king and queen. There is not much in the way of words spoken between you and them, as they are surrounded by priests. I was gonna say consorts, that's not the word. Basically their court, you know.
Well,
Their individual harems. Now they're surrounded by their advisors, the members of their palatial staff. There's a term that is evading my brain.
retinue.
Thank you. Sure. Yes, that one.
Were you thinking of courtiers?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I was just thinking of the people that would normally be around a king and queen, kind of like
Their
the ones that are
coterie.
Their posse?
their posse. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's their squad.
Their squad, yeah. They're surrounded by their squad, their homies.
Hashtag monarch goals.
Beautiful.
Did you see the king's post on Instagram last night?
Drunk again. Anyway,
Drunk with the squad.
drunk with anyway, as you guys are kind of, not that you're necessarily kept separate, but by happenstance, you guys are kind of kept separate. As the procession goes from palace and into the city, there is a level of nerves, I would say, that you can feel through the group as you walk back into the city of Ilum. There's as you get further and further in, you see and hear the humming thrum of people. The sounds of celebration have kind of diminished, but they know that soon there will be a proclamation being given. You look to the skyline as you are going down the street, heading literally in that downward slope into the city itself. Out beyond in the seas, you can see that storm cloud has indeed, maybe it's not grown so much, but it is definitely still looming in the horizon. Occasionally in the far, far distance, you can see the flash of lightning go up through the skyline. Occasionally, maybe the faintest rumble of thunder. A definitely large storm is brewing to the south of the city. But for the moment, it doesn't seem to be touching this way. And instead, the sun, as it is now starting to set into the afternoon, it looks to be that soon, within the next few hours, it will disappear behind that cloud line that has now slowly engulfed much of the horizon. But as you get closer, that feeling of electric energy of nerves definitely goes through all of you as you remember how just the night before, so much of your lives had changed. So much of your understanding of the world had shifted within the last day. Before long, the crowds who have gathered, seeing the procession, began to cheer as the king and queen ascend to the top of the altar around the statue of Apollo, the same space that you had been just the day before, Themisto and Phoebe, as you had been there just right in front of the steps. The king and queen give thanks to the crowd for coming into attendance. Give thanks to Apollo for bringing to them this glorious festival. And as the king winds down and the thanking of the various members of the court who have donated to the procession, who have donated to the festival, I'm sure you are wondering what it is that has transpired last eve. What sign from the gods brought the tragedy that occurred last night on the first day of our festival? Fortunately for us, and by the blessing of Apollo himself, we have his eyes here among us. Behold, a prophetess
a future Pythia. And he gestures to you, Themisto.
As
Please.
he's gesturing.
Go ahead.
Just to not interrupt in between,
Yeah,
could
yeah.
I divine sense 60 feet of the crowd just to see if anyone in a close or suspicious position immediately pings the radar?
Sure.
Eyes flash.
Eyes flash. You look out over the crowd. As you look over. You spot one. On the far side of the space here. Standing in the same place that the sacrifice occurred the night before. General Ares stands with 4 other rather imposing looking soldiers. It is one of the first times that you have... Wait, did you divine sense him before?
Yes, and then he revealed himself, but yeah.
Okay. So it's one of those that if the moment you see it, it's kind of like, oh, you see this beam of brilliance, and then you recognize it. You recognize him, and he seems to just nod in your direction. Maybe it was just your imagination, but you spot him, and he like just nods in that direction towards y'all. The king gestures for Themisto to step forward. You hear a murmur going through the crowd, as clearly they were not quite expecting a would-be Pythia to be amongst them. You hear whispers. And Themisto, do you listen to them?
I can't help but be curious.
I'll say that as you are stepping up, your ears perk. Try and listen to the words. Make a perception check for me. After 2.5 hours, our first roll.
Oh yeah, I meant to roll deception during my story. I did.
What did you get, Themisto?
19.
Okay. Laertes, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I'm just trying to figure out if we're just sort of like the rest of us are interspersed through the crowd, or
I would say you're probably part of this royal retinue.
Oh no.
So
Okay.
you're there. You're not like up on stage per se, but you're gonna be there with the people who came down from the palace. So
Okay.
you would be like the VIP section.
Laertes knows that we're all in fireball range.
Phoebe, what were you gonna say?
I don't like the math on this one.
I was just gonna say that as Themisto steps forward, Phoebe's gonna like stay a step back, but it's gonna give your hand like one more squeeze as you step up.
Quick squeeze back too.
Okay.
Step forward in my golden rod and sort of gray-green, big wide vertical stripes.
Mm-hmm. The words amongst the crowd as they speak. Who is that? I have not heard of a Pythia coming to the festival before. You think she was here already? One voice. Is she human? But that's all you hear as you go up. to-
Right. I imagine the snake's danger track towards that voice for a little bit, and then kind of go back to
Which I should then
doing what they would
ask.
normally do.
I guess I should have asked this beforehand. Is that do you have yourself like mystery shrouded, or are you fully like revealing what you are?
At this point, now that I've been introduced as I'm stepping up, I will have pulled it back as I'm stepping forward.
Okay.
Cypress sees that she's doing that and just very nonchalantly hand on the sword.
Okay. We'll say that this is almost in time with that question that you hear from someone in the crowd. And there is definitely a reaction. It's not a negative one, but there is a reaction. A little bit of a intake of breath. And silence falls over the crowd. What do you say?
First, I do a little quick whisper to myself. Say, Apollo, please carry my words to the hearts of these people. And cast thaumaturgy so I can be heard just a bit louder and with a bit more mystery and authority. And then taking my wax tablet out and holding it with a reference, I start to speak. People of Ilum, competitors, festival goers, you probably have heard or seen for yourself strange and frightening things occurred here last night in this great plaza. While your high priest of Apollo, the wise Melanthos, gave offerings to dedicate what should have been a happy time. Some of you may recognize me from that night, making prayer next to him under the statue of Apollo. I am here to speak to you, to bring light to these happenings. But for you to trust me, a stranger, which I know can be hard to do, I ask you but to listen as I tell you who I am. I am Themisto. I am a guest here at your Temple of Apollo, because I am a servant and junior priestess of the Petia, she whose eyes see with a sight beyond sight, she who speaks with the voice of Apollo Peteus from his domain at Delphi, on the shoulder of the Grand Mount Parnassus, at the navel of the world, the place closest to Gaia. Though I am but an acolyte, I have been asked by your great king to interpret the signs so many of us experienced last night. I will do my best for you. So, what were these signs? A man proclaimed the gods would know fear. This much is true. A brilliant flash of light filled the area. The man struck down his companion in two halves, and a beast emerged. A boy was killed, but strangers united under the eyes of the statue of Apollo. With the incredible feats, they defeated the beast and the man who brought it forth. This says less about those strangers than it does about all of us in this world. It says to me, there are forces in this world who resent the gods, who want to use us to strike at them. With the ray of pure sunlight in the depth of night, Apollo rebuked these forces and lended temporary strength to those who would stand with him and protect his ceremony. Yet was not without cost, but we cannot give in to fear and distrust. The unity of strangers and belief in the gods will overcome these challenges. It could have been any one of you that night to stand, and it may yet be. But there is strength in standing together with your neighbor and with your newcomer, in faith and in wit. I will ask you to heed these words, but the choice is as ever in the tradition of the Petia, your own. Courage to you, people of Ilum. I think you are muted, the crowd. I have made them silent with my beautiful words.
Which is funny because that's what I said. I was like that they were all silent for a while. I took that very literally. Very, very literally. And then they crowd cheers. And as they're cheering,
I'll step back humbly, just kind of fold my arms in front of myself.
a crack of thunder echoes across. And they almost instantly all silence themselves. One of those divine could be interpreted as a exclamation, could be interpreted as a warning. You can hear the whispers already beginning to go across the crowd, as if there were some who say,
See? Even Zeus sides with the Pythia.
and then others like,
Thought it was a warning. Zeus is angry.
but it seems that the most whispers you hear favor you on the positive. This was indeed a sign from above, wasn't it? The rest of the evening flows rather quickly. You find that the rest of the evening is a feast, as a second offering is given to Apollo, almost as if to try and not overshadow the events from the night before, but rectify what went wrong. And this time, all goes according to plan. With the guiding eye of Cyprus and Phoebe, always ever watchful for any dangers to not only Themisto, but your band of friends, no one seems to make any untoward moves towards any of you. People from far across the Hellenic world come to meet the would-be Pythia in training, thanking her for her words of wisdom, courage, and unity. There are some amongst them that give you a sense of, maybe mockery is not the right word, but they don't exactly see you as one of them. They view you as a novelty at most. But you've come to expect that from people sometimes. Not everyone is going to see you.
This is
the
not a
same
new
way.
feeling to me.
Exactly. As the evening begins to wind down and nightfall is reached, you find yourselves back in the palatial state of the king and queen. There in a private garden dinner, you all are gathered together. General Ares finds you all one by one and brings you all together. All right. Well done. You spoke well today. And I hear from others that you have passed your tests.
It was difficult, but we faced what we had to. Together.
And together you will face much more. Now that you are part of the fold, it is my honor to present to you your first task, but it will be one of your choosing.
In the tradition of the Pythia.
There are three things
that currently have our attention. We have received word that to the south, well, undoubtedly you have seen the storm. There is word of some strange goings on. You are to possibly go and investigate. See what is there. See what is true. And then report back any findings that you might have. Also, we have received word that just south of Sparta, the island of Kythera, there has been more sightings of this cult of fear. We need to see what exactly they are cooking. What are they planning? Who are these members of this cult? But paramount as well to all of these, no one has seen or heard of Apollo since yesterday. There are a few temples. He has a few left a few clues as to where he might be, perhaps. But it would require some travel. I believe this
Which
choice.
temples?
There is one in Eritrea, one in Thermon, Thebes, and Pantheon. These were the last four that he had been seen at before tonight.
What was the second one?
Eritrea, Thermon, I'll put them in
Mon.
chat, Thebes, and Pantheon.
Well, I know the task that my heart wants me to undertake, but I am curious to know what the others would like to do or find to be the most wise.
I'm for whichever of the places. I cannot return to Thebes, so my vote is actually not for that one.
Out of
Cannot-
character.
You cannot return to Thebes. Go ahead. We're gonna say Laertes.
I would kind of like to see these points at a map, just so the idea of like trying to plot a logical course.
It's a diamond.
The one for which one? Which one are you talking about?
Well, to examine all the points is like all the tests that we.
Basically going to the South Aegean where this storm like event took place, be south of Troy.
Okay.
South Sparta would be on the map. It would be more of the southwestern direction, so it would be basically opposite. And then the temples mentioned are mostly westward from Troy or from Ilum, but are kind of more spread out.
Other
Which
than
ones?
other than Thebes, because if I understand, isn't that sort of like northeast from Ilum? If I understand.
Nope, it would actually be southwest.
I'm gonna have to refresh myself on ancient geography. Apparently,
That's okay. Well, there's because
then actually that still kind of works, because the idea is if we start in the south examining the storm and then kind of just arc our way through
way up.
the south, go up, we'd be able to hit all of them
eventually, yeah.
in a reasonable fashion. That's my thought. There, if we are able to get to the south and work our way up, or further west and then up, we could examine a great deal of what's being presented in one trip, one long trip, but a trip nonetheless.
A journey for sure. I would say it's the type of thing that Mythic Hero may someday have a word for it named after him. But
Yes, but I have the impression that it'll be named for the lone survivor. Perhaps we don't lead into that one just yet.
Would we have a way to get in touch with you if we decided to make our journey longer to tackle more?
You always have prayer. There are means. And they can be provided.
Do you know of any elementals that are friends or in the employ of your kingdom? They can travel very fast.
True. There aren't too many of the primordials who consort with us. But there are. I suggest you find one task and use that as your primary focus for now. You have much to learn of the true ways of the world.
My heart is leading me in one direction, but I cannot force Cypress to go where he cannot go.
Yes, you speak
If-
of not being able to return to Thebes. Were you banished?
In a fashion, I have an agreement with the queens of Thebes. It's a type of banishment,
You
not
see him almost roll his eyes, and then he kind of like, it's like, oh, the queens.
you know them.
I do.
the Mister's like wanting to whisper, like, he's a god, of course he knows.
Oh, who are we talking to again? I thought we were talking to the king.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I thought we were talking to the king.
Oh no.
All right, clears that up.
Yeah.
I am not supposed to return, or it would ruin the agreement that we have. If we could find a way to, I don't know, do it secretively or find some other way around it, I suppose, but I don't really want to risk it unless we know that it's definitely permitted.
Perhaps we think on that then for a while.
Perhaps one way to decide is how would we even get there? Are we being spirited away to our destination or conventional means?
It is a long boat ride.
Nothing that our crew can handle.
The
But-
Mister's gonna smile.
It was my understanding you have a boat.
I-
I
And
should
you
like to travel on the sea.
You before? Oh, well, you had to get here.
Yes.
So, yes. You all will meet my crew. They'd be happy to meet you.
Astrid, are you comfortable if we were to sail into danger, into the storm? Who knows how long it will last? Perhaps it is best for us to go after the thing which has the shortest time.
Is that Thebes? Is that the closest one?
Believe
I
this
mean-
the storm.
The storms, they come and go. Thieves, as far as we know, will be around for a while.
Mostly.
Don't give us that look, Aaron. Don't give us that look.
Cypress wasn't looking. That's why.
Just jump cut to a smoking crater with a caption, Thieves.
They're elementals. They have ways to survive what we couldn't.
The storm is being caused by unnatural means. Then it is our duty to try and end it.
Is the storm not a sign from Zeus?
The old man wouldn't. He's he's capable. Not get me wrong, he is capable. But he has chosen his path. Let us say it does not involve making showy theatrics.
I'm gonna have Astrid bring out a map of Greece, and we can plot our destinations.
Is this still at the garden party, or are we sort of?
Yeah, you're
somewhere
still there.
else?
No, this is just off to the side, but
Okay.
this is more of the chilled, relaxed after party kind of thing where everyone's kind of doing their own. little
Temisto is going to eat a fig.
Beautiful.
Athens has some of the best figs in all of Greece. So if we visit, I will find figs worthy for you.
You,
yeah.
strangely enough, are the second person in Elam who said that to me.
All right. Well, so yeah, basically you have 3 different directions you can go. Go south and investigate the mysterious events of the storm. Go southwest towards Sparta and investigate the appearances of the Cult of Fear. Or go westward into the very heart of Greece and do a little land traveling once you get there. Mind you, like, we're not talking Faerunian, like, hundreds and hundreds of miles. At most, I think, from where you're at,
This is like less than driving across the state of Texas.
your biggest hurdle would just be going across the Aegean Sea. Everything else, once you get to mainland Greece, is like, it's about 150, 200 miles across, if that,
Map
maybe.
scaling. It's so
Yeah.
useful to know.
Yeah, so it's like probably like 100, 150 miles at most to get from one coastline to the other. So it's not
That's
terribly.
helpful.
Yeah,
We are
it's,
But it
changing.
is like mountainy and stuff.
it's not. Yeah, I'm not saying it's gonna be easy. I'm just also it's not like
2 days on foot.
yeah.
We are changing Thebes to be the landlocked place, right?
No.
Not,
No,
or-
it'll be coastal. We
but
can.
it'll be in the west.
Just
It'll-
carve
it's
like
still-
a little bitty inlet that no one really captures on the map.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you look, we'll do this afterwards, but just that way, number one, it gives me a focus of where to plan for the next time, so that I'll have a general idea of what direction you guys want to take, and then you can talk like logistics of it like later. But
Then we are currently in Troy
Mm-hmm.
in relation to.
Yeah, Aaron, if you could just send us a version of that map from Age of Myth with like dots on it of the locations, because I cannot find them on it.
Yeah, let's just start with the south, and then make our way west towards.
And if we go back one at a time like you suggested, then
Sparta.
So starting out with the storm.
Okay.
Or Sparta.
No, I meant the storm and then to Sparta.
Then Sparta.
all
I
right.
felt I felt the heart of Leonidas all of a sudden.
Beautiful. All right.
I think we can
It's hard
start
to
this
kick
one.
that particular habit.
And who
Terrible.
knows, maybe with enough conversations, Apollo will answer.
Is the storm something we need to stop?
Storm
We
is
will
gone,
find out.
but it's more what caused.
The storm.
I will explain more.
Okay.
To the south you go then.
The general must read over his notes in more detail as he preps for our mission.
Let us retire to a more private place. Where we can
It's-
speak freely.
Laertes
This is
says,
ancient Greece.
I
What?
was enjoying
come to the
being among
bathhouse.
people.
What was that? Like 3 people spoke at once.
I just
What-
said, come to the bathhouse.
Oh no.
I
What
just
did-
said Greece was spelled differently.
And then what did the Misso say?
I was just being in character, don't worry about it.
Beautiful.
Ancient
Wink.
Grease. This Greece is ancient.
With that hand gesture? Oh
It's
no.
flicking it off of me.
Yeah.
That's what you're
Kind
doing.
of tacky.
Okay, anyway. All right, well, now that we have a heading and you have found your way into the fold, this secretive organization of Orphic individuals, we will see what more awaits you
No. We have time.
next time.
No.
We're
It's 10.
pursuing the Grease Lightning.
We are.
Roll credits. Never mind.
Oh
we're good.
no! I just,
That was good
it
anticipation.
it just clicked. I was like, Grease. Oh my god!
I'm
Why wasn't the
so,
first Percy
so
Jackson
happy.
book called that?
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Welcome to the beginning of this new adventure as we figure out, we just run our own Benjamin. Oh my God, are we doing more lightning stuff again? Jesus Christ.
That wasn't us.
We
I
didn't
believe that
write it.
option was
Benjamin.
all Aaron.
No, I know, but the last time we streamed, there was like couple episodes in, and they were freaking doing Benjamin Franklin experiments with kites and swords and things. And now we're like a couple episodes in.
I don't know who Benjamin Franklin is. What's a kite?
Oh my
I'll
gosh.
show you. Don't worry about it.
How about $100? There's gonna be more of those jokes coming along.
Benjamin is Franklos.
God,
Apparently,
damn it, Astrid.
apparently, it is all about the Benjamins.
And on that note, we'll see you next time.
Broke
Bye.
by Benjamin.
How is that a better stopping point than Grease Lightning?
Oh no.